second leading scorer in the playoffs. And despite scoring 39 in the opener, his Blazers fell by 8. Denver's Nikola Jokic has done it all. 7th in playoff scoring, 2nd in rebounds, 2nd in assists. The Nuggets take aim at a 2-zip lead as the playoffs continue on TNT. And somebody bang the side of that machine. Get that thing to play, will you? It's the only NBA playoff game on this Wednesday night. Starts in about 10 minutes here on TNT as Brian Anderson, Kevin McHale, and Dennis Scott call the Blazers and Nuggets here in Atlanta Studio J. TNT NBA tip-off presented by Auto Trader. Ernie Johnson with Shaq and Kenny and Charles. If you were watching us last night, things got a little contentious and hilarious at the same time. Because we were having a discussion segment in which Shaq felt like Charles had dominated the time on the 3-minute clock, and this ensued.
Mr. Sensitive. No, ain't no Mr. Sensitive. Do it again. I'm telling you right now.
Don't you want to weigh in on this?
No, I don't want to weigh in. No,
Chuck. Don't do it. Don't do it, Shaq.
You know though, I'm Mr. Sensitive. No, I ain't sensitive. I'm going to knock your ass out. I'm telling you right now. You can play him if you want to. Supposed to be 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, back to 1. Dumbass. Do it again, Chuck.
Oh, man. Yo, dude.
I'm telling you, it's going to be some fun.
So Chuck.
You repeat yourself.
Who's a better high school player?
Kenny, I ain't in the movie.
It's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, back.
I'm not saying no jokes. Okay. I'm not saying no jokes, man. That's him, man. That's all him.
It's funny.
Say what?
Do it again.
Kenny, why don't you go ahead and say what you want to say?
I'm going to throw this... You think it's fun? I'm going to throw this metal damn can at your ass.
It's too much fun. So we actually also have some system we always remember. We do have little basketballs up here with 1s, 2s, and 3s on them. So I know when if it goes to 1 and then to 2.
That's what those basketballs.
I was wondering there's a 1 in front of Chuckster right there. There you go.
Well, it's supposed to go 1 deep. Why would you just not let us talk sometime? Why
I was making a point. I didn't.
Yeah, but it was a 3-minute clock.
Yeah.
And we were all supposed to get a minute.
I wasn't even paying attention.
You wasn't paying attention to the clock.
I was not paying attention to it.
Anyway, let's start talking about Game 2 of this series. And obviously, there's only one place I can go to start this conversation. Kenny, what do you think about the backcourt?
Don't come to me first. Don't come to me first. Don't start it, Ernie. I know when he ain't playing no more. I'm done. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
You're Terry Stotts. Okay. What's your game plan against Jokic?
Well, one, you just...
Well, I think you
just have to try to play him. You just have to try to play him as best as you can. You're a big guy with a feathery touch. Mike Malone does a great job of putting him in positions where he really can't get double. He's not really an insider force, even though he does have the inside moves. On the pick and pop. If Cantor's gonna go back, he just pops back, has the ability to shoot the 3. But right here, he's always moving, always twisting and twirling. And what I like about him is he plays at his pace. He's not a fast guy, he's not a powerful guy, he's not a leaper, but he plays at his pace. And again, Mike Malone puts him in great position not to get doubled.
You know what, Ernie? If you look at everything that Jokic does, he does it from a guard position. His most effective area is from three-point line, top of the key, elbow to elbow. So when you're playing him as a defender, as a center, you have to think of him as a 2 guard. And that is a difficult mindset for guys, let's say, even the best defenders in the league, DeAndre Jordan, all the way down, that and Rudy Gobert, they're not accustomed to playing in that space. Not that they can't defend him, but that space is a different space, Chuck, for most 5-men, Shaq, to be guarding guy. Almost, he's better than this, but Vlade, areas that Vlade, Divac used to like to be, like big country, those guys didn't like to take you guys on the box. They like to be up top.
Well, I think what makes him different is the ability to shoot the 3. That's why I said last night, I think you should put Miles Leonard on him because I think he's bigger, more athletic than Cantor. I think that could.
Back to one.
You guys are reading.
Come on, man.
No, but I just think I would put a bigger body on him, and then
A bigger body than him? Who's bigger than him?
Leonard is bigger than Cantor.
Oh, you're Miles Leonard.
But also, I would actually play him like a passer because he would rather pass the ball than shoot it. I do. He'd rather have a triple-double than go for 45 because the game he got 45, they lost. I would play him I'd make him score and not be a passer.
It is game 2 between the Portland Trail Blazers and the Denver Nuggets here on TNT. Don't mess with Shaq tonight. He has that look in his eyes.
Yeah.
Not that look in his eye, but that look in his eye. It's a game face.
LB,
It's
that's
playoff
Game
time.
face. People that know me know what this face means.
LB, I think you're right.
Better tell them, Mark.
Looking to get even. Tonight, Damian Lillard and the Blazers enter the Pepsi Center down 1-0, and including the regular season, have lost 7 of 8 to the Nuggets. Blazers are going to need to find a way to slow down the Joker. Nikola Jokic burned Portland for 37 in Denver's Game 1 victory. Welcome on in Studio B here in Atlanta. This is Game Time. Tip-off in the Mile High City just over 1 hour from now. We've got the Hall of Famer, Grant Hill. Got the 1986 Coach of the Year, the czar himself, Mike Fratello. I'm Jared Greenberg. We're getting you set for Game 2 of Round 2 between the Nuggets and the Blazers. Take you back to Monday night. Lillard did his part, 39.6 assists. However, his 6 turnovers contributed to a team-wide issue, which we will be breaking down shortly ahead of tonight's Game 2. Murray to Jokic happened quite often in Game 1. Murray had 8 assists, while Jokic dropped 37 and 9, all part of a filthy tear put together by the MVP candidate of late. Monday, Jokic joined only Steph Curry in the 29 postseason with a game of at least 37 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists. Quick turnaround to tonight's Game 2. However, Terry Stotts says his best player is up for the challenge.
As a leader, I've said this before, I don't know all the players in the league, but I think he's the best star leader in the league. He leads by example. He cares about his teammates. He cares about the right things. He's great in the community. I'm glad he's getting acknowledged now for the things that he's been doing for a long time.
You grow up watching the NBA, you see superstars, and you kind of always think maybe they're destined for it, and this is kind of what they were going to always be. But this is one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. So there's just no secret to it.
He doesn't have to score 30 plus for us to win, but you know, when he's efficient scoring the ball and other players are stepping up, you know, we can win games that way too.
How crucial would it be to steal one here to move back to Portland?
It'll be huge to go back home with the series even. You know, we would be taking away home court. So considering how well we've played at home, you know, I think that would be to our advantage, and it would be great to even it up here and, you know, put that pressure on them.
All right, so that's some sound leading up to game number 2 tonight, which you'll see on TNT coming up just after 9 o'clock Eastern. Coach, let's start here with Portland, and we know how great of a leader everybody says that Damian Lillard is. Not sure how much more they need from him on the offensive end, but what'd you see from him in game 1 in particular, where he put up 37?
He obviously understands the amount of pressure that he is under to try to get this team a win and then obviously build on that. I think he's been simply sensational. I think everything he says and does in leading this team is about as good as you can be. I think he's got an even perspective on what the series is all about. He understands that they're shorthanded. We all understand this is a guard-oriented team that's missing its starting center. The replacement, Cantor, has come in and done a decent job. Has a dislocated shoulder, but it's the other 2 starters that have to come up with more than a combined 4 points.
Yeah, we'll get into all that here. In terms of Lillard, he kind of embraces this role, this underdog role where he doesn't have all of his parts, but he can carry a squad on his back.
Yeah, you know, and Terry Stotts talked about it as a coach, the mentality, you know, being the underdog, but still feeling like, look, I'm not going to be denied. I'm not going to make excuses. he has the ability, as we've seen thus far, to really will his team with his play, with his leadership. Just as even that last shot, that we go back to that series against OKC, I mean, just the reaction after the shot, and the coolness under pressure, the audacity to take that shot. But no, I mean, he's been spectacular. And we've talked so much about Jokic, and rightfully so, but he's been as good and as dominant as any player in the postseason thus far. And I anticipate him coming out again and being dominant. The question is, who's going to help him along the way here in Game 2?
Well, let's go to that then. Let's talk about what happened. You referenced that two of the starters combined for 4 total points in Aminu and Harkless. Now, granted, both of those had a tall task in what they had to do defensively. Terry Stotts went to some unconventional lineups in Game 1. But no matter what, you can't just get 4 points from two of your starters.
No, I mean, you've been placed in a position of being one of the best 5 players on the team in all probability, and as a result of that, they're expecting you to make contributions, and you can't put everything on Lillard, you can't put everything on McCollum, and particularly with Cantor having the load that he has to guard at the other end of the floor, how much do you want to get out of him? And these two young men, I would expect tonight, would really bounce back and give them much better games than they got in game number 1. I was thinking about Lillard before, and the fact that this guy is playing with a chip on his shoulder from the years that he has been slighted and not been put on the All-Star team, where he feels he's got this confidence, this quiet confidence about himself. And the years that he did not make the All-Star team, that hurt that young man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's showing it now. I want to show you just how good I really am.
Turnovers is going to be another thing here for Portland, right? They had 18, 23 of those 23 points came off the turnovers for Denver in Game 1.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the road in the playoffs against a very good team in Denver. You can't have that many turnovers, and that was a little bit uncharacteristic for Portland. Have to value the basketball, and these turnovers, sort of live ball opportunities. Denver was able to get out and convert off of those turnovers in their game, 23 points off of the 18 turnovers from Portland. So valuing the basketball in addition to getting somebody to step up. But I'll say this, look, Cantor actually did a pretty good job, and we've talked so much about who's going to be that third guy to step up for Portland. And I actually felt like McCollum, I thought he did a good job there against Gary Harris, but then once they changed the lineups, he struggled there in the second half.
Yeah.
So he's got to be good. And I just thought McCollum was okay. I think his ceiling is higher, and I expect him to bounce back and have a better game in Game 2.
16 points for TJ, just 7 of 17 from the field in Game 1. Listen, you can score all the points you want, but if you can't stop the Joker, then you have an issue. Let's turn to the other side of the basketball here with what Jokic has done here, Grant. I mean, he has been on a historic tear. Granted, the MVP votes have been cast. The postseason play has nothing to do with the regular season MVP. But if anybody had any doubts as to why he was in the conversation, we're seeing it over the first round and now bleeding into the second round of the playoffs. 25
points, 11.8 rebounds, 8.8 assists per game. The only other player to reach these marks in a single postseason is Oscar Robertson, who did it in 1963. So Oscar obviously was a point guard. Jokic is a point center, if that's possible. But, I'm not sure you can stop him. I mean, I think he's just been that dominant, that good, so crafty. The offense that Malone has sort of structured, where he's at the top there, the movement, the spacing, the shooting from the rest of his team that gives him opportunities. I mean, he can beat you with the pass. He can beat you with scoring. He makes the right read. I mean, just a joy to watch. I think for Portland, it's not about necessarily stopping him. It's just, can you contain the others? I mean, the other guy, Jamal Murray, is another guy who's, I might put like a Harkless on him, somebody a little taller, give him a little bit more height. But it can't be Jokic going off and having 2 or 3 other guys have big nights as well. That's a recipe for disaster for the Trailblazers.
You mentioned him in the same sentence with James Harden, and when you look back at that last box score, 11 of 18 from the floor in field goals, but the thing that reminds me of Harden, 12 for 12 at the free throw line. He's getting to the line a lot. he makes his free throws. That's a good thing.
Yeah, really good article written today on The Ringer about you can compare Jokic all you want to all these bigs, but his numbers so far in the playoffs mirror more like Harden and Steph Curry than they do some of your traditional bigs. We got plenty more on this game. Again, tip-off coming just after 9 Eastern on TNT. When we come back, we'll look back on Game 2 of the Dubs and the Rockets. Have the Dubs locked this one up? Plus,